There were three outfits for each of us because Michelle was obviously in the outfit too. And, depending on what would happen to the outfit, if for example, when I fell through the greenhouse, it was real glass. And when I landed on the table, a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of glass nicked the butt, where my butt was in the outfit, and it just went.
Oh,
oh man!
Wardrobe malfunction.
Needless to say, I did not get up off that table.
A serious question.
Charlie's coming on a little bit.
We're going to have somebody else come on screen here in a minute. He's actually the one. His name is Charlie. He's the one that actually told me something about you that I did not know. But a serious question. Okay, you're really smart. You're a beautiful person. Let's see. You most likely
Could kick your butt.
Most likely you're able to kick most men's ass in a street fight. And yet today I just learned that you were a stunt double for Michelle Pfeiffer in Catwoman.
No, I was her fight double in Batman Returns.
Oh,
yeah, Batman
double.
Returns. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He knows nothing about these movies.
I don't.
Nothing.
It's okay.
So it must be nearly impossible to be Kathy Long on a day-to-day basis, and yet you do it with grace and dignity. How the fuck does that happen?
I have no clue.
It's that way.
I mean, I'm incredibly grateful that you're being so kind right now.
Well, it's true. Shit. And I didn't know. I don't know why I didn't know that about you. I think I just know a lot about your fighting and all that, but I never knew that you did this. Would you call it acting? I mean, it's acting, right?
Well, I've starred in several films, low budget films, and I've also worked as a choreographer or a fight double or stunt double in several others.
Yeah.
I've worked on Natural Born Killers, Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. I've worked on what was the other name of it? Death Becomes Her. Worked on Walker, Texas Ranger. I had a small part on Walker, Texas Ranger, one episode. It was fun.
I never got your what do you call it? Not the signature, but your autograph. The last time we did a podcast. That sucks. Now you're 1,000 miles away.
What the heck?
Well, hey, do
I'll
you
send
think?
you one if you want.
Yeah, of course.
God.
I want your photo. Do we have a photo in here? I think we do.
We have a photo of you guys together,
Do you
but
have
not like one of
Hey,
her.
do you have like a photo like in your Catman or Catwoman outfit?
I do have a Polaroid, believe it or not. I have a Polaroid. And because Wardrobe was taking photos of me in the outfit, and there were it was one of those situations where there were three outfits for each of us because Michelle was obviously in the outfit too, and depending on what would happen to the outfit, if for example, when I fell through the greenhouse, it was real glass, and when I landed on the table, a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of glass nicked the butt, where my butt was in the outfit, and it just went.
Oh,
Oh man!
wardrobe malfunction.
Needless to say, I did not get up off that table.
That's funny. I
Wow.
guess. It's funny now.
Yeah, and Michael Keaton came and wrapped his cape around me, and we walked me over to wardrobe, and I, got into the outfit. Had to change clothes, but it was, working on that film was just an incredible experience.
Sounds like it. I mean, you were with legit actors. It sounds like Michael Keaton. I mean, he's an A-lister for sure, isn't he?
Well, he was blacklisted right after that film.
Was.
Yeah, for silly reasons.
Of course. Hey, how did you get into all this anyway? I know did your fighting help you land these roles? And tell us a little bit kind of where it starts as far as your acting and stunt doubling and all that.
Well, right after my last world title fight, a man named Albert Pune approached me and asked me if I would star in this lower budget film. And he was really trying hard to convince me to do a reading with the producer because he thought that I'd be perfect. And I said, you know what? I've never acted and it's not something I've ever wanted to pursue. And thank you, but I'm not interested. And he said, no, really, I think you'd be fantastic for my film. Would you please just read for the producer? Just try it once. And I said, okay, I'll go ahead and read. And then what I didn't know at the time was he was trying to convince the producer to let me read for the, for the lead role because the producer was saying the same thing I was. Well, she's never acted, so why would I let her on the film? And I, you know, it just, I ended up reading for the producer, and afterwards he goes, well, that was pretty good. Okay, you're hired.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. And I went, in my mind, I went, oh crap. No,
you weren't expecting it.
oh, hell no.
Were you when you did the reading, were you just like, was it you and in front of him and maybe a producer that had a mic on you? How did that work?
We just sat in the producer's office and we talked for a little bit, and I felt really reasonably comfortable with him. And so he says, okay, let's do the reading. So we did, and he goes, wow, that was pretty good. Okay, you're hired.
Like when you do the reading, are you like reading like did you memorize the words, or were you reading off a script?
I was reading off of what they call sides. And in the film industry, they'll take a small scene that they think is powerful or creative or funny or whatever it is that they want to see you do, and they'll ask you to read that with them. And you are usually given the sides beforehand. Could be a week beforehand, a few days beforehand, the day before, it just depends, so that you can study it. If you feel like you want to just do it off, you know, you could read off of it, or you could just do it live and have it memorized. So it just depends on the producer and what they want out of you, literally.
So you didn't do it live. You did it. You read off the script.
I read off the script, but you know, I love to read and I can read out loud, and so in that respect, you know, I've used to read out loud to all kinds of kids, and you know, play the characters that were in there, and that's a lot of fun. But so I just treated it like that. You know? Like,
well, I think that you must. I think that you must be a natural, because I tell you what happened with me.
I was gonna say, I know you're gonna go to this story right now.
I did Kevin Costner, The Bodyguard. He asked me to do just a few words, Kathy. I don't know, maybe 5-10 words, I guess.
Yeah.
And I like memorized those babies for 2 hours driving down to LA, and I got into that place where where there's action, you know. Yeah. I choked like a big dog. And for you to get up and read that stuff, read it from a sheet and make it look authentic enough, you have to be a natural.
I don't know. I like reading to people, but you know, it's something that when I was growing up, I was painfully shy, painfully. Oh, so as a kid, you know, I'd be the one in the room where I was off on the side against the wall watching everybody.
Oh man, me too. And the stupid, like when you have to go up at the front of the class to present a project. Oh gosh, I always wanted to miss that day. Oh, I'd like a pit in my stomach, be waiting for my name to be called. Please have the bell ring first.
Yeah.
Hated
in junior high, I had an English teacher whom I adored. His name was Jerry Kabelski, and he was so creative and so fun and so inventive. And he just made things feel comfortable, you know, and he would find a book that, you know, for 7th grade, 8th grade, he'd find a book that the kids would really like. And he was big into science fiction. So he'd grab a science fiction book and we would all take turns reading. And I always dreaded when it came to my turn. Always.
Yep.
But he made you had no choice. It was part of your grade. And if you didn't read, you know, it was a huge chunk off of your grade. So crap, okay, so now I have to.
Yeah.
But after a while, because he would read first, and he'd read maybe a whole chapter, just depending on how long the class was, and he would make it so fun and interesting that all of us who were reading out loud, because we all had to take a turn. And so in that respect, we all tried to keep up with him. It's like, oh my God, he's doing such a good job reading these characters. We really got to do a good job too. So
Yeah.
we all tried very hard, and some of us picked it up really well. And I guess because I was getting into the character, and I was a bookworm, so I love to read in that respect. It helped. It helped that nobody was laughing at me and joking with me or stuff like that, or teasing me or calling me names. Thank God. I just enjoy reading out loud. Reading to people, I should say.
Yeah, I kind of correlate that with, or compare that, your teacher with someone who's a good coach.
Yeah.
Because when someone's a good coach or someone's a good teacher, they have an ability to get somehow the best out of you in some way.
Yes.
Not any teacher or not any coach, through my experiences, could do that. But there were those few that just. I had a psychology teacher that was just amazing. In fact, that teacher was actually when I went through my first divorce. He was a psychologist, and I went to him because he had the ability to make me feel comfortable enough in that setting to just spill the beans.
I felt the same way, not only with my English teacher in junior high, but I had a psychology teacher in high school, and she was so amazingly creative. She actually brought in an Auschwitz survivor.
Wow.
And we got to speak to that person. And then we went to Patent Mental Hospital for it was a field trip that the school allowed us to do. And at that time, that field trip, they had all kinds of criminally insane people talk about their experiences or their life or whatever, and we got to interview them.
Was that eerie?
It was interesting because some of them would really go off on the deep end, like big time.
But, really?
Yeah, they were talking about how if you're familiar with why is the name escaping me? Conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
They're big on that, and they were criminally insane, which meant while they were insane, they committed all kinds of heinous crimes.
Yeah.
Scary. It was scary a little bit just to be near them because they did not have handcuffs on or anything like that. Yeah, so there were guards everywhere. However, we were free to go and interview people and talk to them, and it was just an amazing experience.
How old were you?
I was 16, 17. Yeah. 15, 16, 17.
The stories that they told you, were they pretty graphic? They let it all hang out?
They let it all hang out. I mean, it's not like they had a filter, And I was actually really
got wound up. What's that?
I was surprised that the school actually allowed it.
Yeah.
But when our psychology teacher, her name was Cara and Charlie, and when she graduated college, she graduated with a history degree. But when she came looking for a job as a teacher, she wanted to teach history, but they said, well, the only opening we have is psychology. Are you okay with that? And she went, let's do it. And she took that ball and ran with it and just was amazing. Really amazing.
That's really cool. So back to your first reading, what was that role? What was your part in that? And tell us things like what was going on in your head. Was it scary? Did you screw up a lot? They had to do a bunch of retakes. Anything like that. What was that first time like?
Well, after the reading, I asked them if they would please hire me an acting coach. And like you said, she was the kind of coach that would just pull the best out of you and yank you right out of your comfort zone but support you at the same time. And she was, still is a longtime friend and just an amazing acting coach. And I dreaded going to acting class because kind of like, having to read in my English class when I was 12, we had to come up with projects. We had to come up with all kinds of skits that you either do by yourself or with somebody else. And you had no choice. You had to do it. And I hated it. Every second of it. I hated it. So having said all that, I took the role that I had, which was a lead role, and I thought, I'm going to do absolutely the best I possibly can with it, just like I would if I were fighting for a world title. I would leave nothing behind. There would be zero doubts as far as any kind of preparation, anything that I could do to make sure that I'm doing the right thing in the role, right? And I just treated it like I was in a fight. So I did absolutely everything I could possibly think of to get comfortable in front of the camera. And, in that respect, I would just pretend, go for it. I would just pretend that, that nobody was there, or I would just pretend that the camera was there and nobody else was around, period. So I was just talking to the camera and there's nobody else there, even though everybody was there.
Yeah.
The crazy thing was when I started getting in front of cameras to do video shoots, that fucking camera was exactly what I was afraid of. I don't know why. All I could see was that eye looking back at me, and it freaked me out, Kathy. The first time I did one of our video shoots, it took 32 takes for me to get my part done. I was traumatized for years. I'm not kidding, I was.
I was so nervous about making sure I did a good job that like I said, I treated it like I was preparing for a fight, and I was hell bent to make sure I did it in one take.
Wow.
I was hell bent. Now, did it work every single time? No, but for the most part, especially with the physical stuff, I'd choreograph a fight scene and then I'd do it with them and I'd practice with them and rehearse it with them, and then boom, when it came time to shoot it, I just knew I had to be spot on. I had to. And then when it came to my lines, I just looked at my partner, whoever I was speaking to, and I just tried to make it as if I were having a conversation with that person. I was just, pretending to be somebody else, which is okay because
that's acting.
It's acting, and at the same time, I was allowed to just be me, which was nice, as opposed to pretending I was completely somebody else.
Yeah, there
was more of me in it, and that was I think what helped a lot in that first film.
Yeah, and we're talking about the Batman Returns one?
No.
Another one, right?
Her first one.
Christopher and Lance Henriksen.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I know when I looked it up, I saw that you had a lead in a movie, and I was like, oh, so I assume that's what we were talking about.
I had the lead role in The Stranger as well, which was an HBO release 50 trillion years ago.
I know, and I'm going to watch these. I'm going to make like a weekend.
I don't want to subject you to such torture. Don't do that.
I have to.
Don't. Oh my God.
I find it interesting that the way you prepared, because I can relate to that as an athlete. I always felt better going into a game time situation, which is what you were doing when you're in front of a camera. Yeah. I always felt better when I knew that I had done everything I could in preparation. Now it was just play the game, but when I wasn't quite ready, that's when I, usually had some problems because I had to think about certain things instead of just reacting. But still, for me, just the idea of even today, I'm pretty comfortable on camera now. But if somebody asked me to come do a film, oh my God.
Well, crap, because Charlie asked you to do a film and you're like, yeah, I'll totally do it.
Shit. I don't know if I can do it.
Charlie does films around the area, and he asked Leo to play a part. He didn't tell Leo what the part was yet, but it's still planned to be in there. And I was like, Leo's going to do it. Leo agreed to do it.
Myself.
That's crazy.
I have to redeem myself.
I was like, good luck with that. He doesn't like being in front of the camera.
Can you tell me in your first film, is this what we're talking about with Chris Christopherson? that
Yeah.
what you're talking?
Yeah,
Okay.
first one.
What was it about, and what did you play in that part?
Well, the film Nights was basically the setting was in a post-apocalyptic kind of world where, technology is non-existent, and there are cyborgs who are literally taking over the world and killing human beings, and so I befriend a cyborg who is actually on the good side, and we go about trying to free people who are captured and being killed or whatever else, because these cyborgs were, you know, kind of sucking the blood out of people and just killing them in that respect. Now, not that they needed it like vampires need it, but it was just something that they did. They were programmed that way. And anyway,
it was your job to kill them before they killed everybody else.
Pretty much, yeah.
A lot of weight on your shoulders, isn't it?
A ton.
I'm gonna assume there was action in this movie.
A crap load of action.
Okay, I was gonna say it feels like it was a perfect role for you.
I had a blast. I really did. There was only one part in that movie that just broke my heart. Literally, I was just devastated and inoperable for a good half of the day. I choreographed this one particular scene where this guy's running up the hill, right? And now Bobby Brown was a stunt coordinator and a really good guy. So I'm fighting these two guys, right? And I'm boom, 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 I hit him, boom, 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 I hit him. And then Bobby Brown runs up the hill, right? And I'm supposed to turn and do a spinning back kick and kick him in the chest. And he was really good at doing flips. So I was supposed to kick him in the chest and he would do a backflip and then land on his stomach, right? And we only rehearsed it one time. So the guy came, I beat up him, he fell down, the other guy turned, I beat up him, and then I see Bobby running up the hill and I go bam, and I kick him in the chest and he does the flip and he lands, and Albert Pune goes, cut, let me check, hold on, let me look at the camera. So he checked everything and he goes, wow, that was perfect, everybody. And everyone gets up and he goes, okay, I think we're gonna go to lunch. But Bobby Brown did not get up.
Uh-oh.
And
oh man,
like this. And apparently my foot hit him in the chest and slid up and hit him in the windpipe.
Oh.
And it hit him so hard that we had to immediately call an ambulance and get him to the hospital ASAP, because windpipes are easy to crush.
Wow.
And
that's what was so
when I was kicking downward, and it was a good solid kick to the chest, but it slid up and hit him in the windpipe. And as soon as I realized I did that, oh my God, I couldn't function.
Oh
yeah. But man, did that movie look even better?
Oh, I know. Now I really want to watch that part.
Yep.
That was real.
Hey, Charlie joined, by the way.
The cool thing is, in The Stranger, there's this one biker dude who, now The Stranger is a ripoff of High Plains Drifter.
I haven't even heard of that one.
Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter. You gotta watch it. Okay. And then after you watch that, watch The Stranger, and then you'll go, oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, total ripoff. But this one scene in a bar where this big biker dude is drinking a bottle, and it was a sugar bottle made of sugar glass, which means that it shatters easily, but it's not glass at all. It's just sugar. Huh. So he's drinking it, and I smash it. Boom! I smash it into his mouth. And then I do a spinning crescent kick. Boom! And I kick him in the head. And he was supposed to react with it, but he didn't. I actually kicked him in the head. Boom! Which knocked him over. Poor guy.
That comes with the territory. I guess,
Poor
right?
guy.
That was with the territory, but he knew he was supposed to move with it.
Yeah.
He knew the kick was coming. He knew, and I kicked him right in the face. Boom!
So that was the second movie, right?
That was the second movie. Yeah.
So the first one, he really hurt someone. And then the second one, did you actually did the same thing? Because I mean, I can assume that doing all this stuff, the accidents are going to happen. Yeah. I mean, just
accidents will happen. However, it depends on who you're working with, because in the two films, Knights and The Stranger, and then there was Under the Gun with Richard Norton, and I played a prominent role in that, but it wasn't a very long role. It wasn't throughout the whole film, and that was shot in Australia. But having said that, the most important thing is that during those two films, Knights and The Stranger, we had a lot of martial artists as stunt people, as opposed to a regular stunt person who doesn't really
okay.
understand, who does. I mean, stunt people understand film fighting, but martial artists, you know, it's okay to hit them because they can react accordingly, and they'll see it coming, and they're used to that. So it was really helpful to have a lot of martial artists in the movie Knights, and only one or two in The Stranger.
I have a question, Kathy. The when you're doing your scenes, are they doing the voiceover, or are you doing the fight scene? And is there dialogue? Does that happen all at the same time, or separate? They put that in?
No, there's always voiceovers afterwards in the post-production, because they want to make sure that the voice can be heard, and whatever's being said, can be heard.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be post-production voiceovers.
Yeah.
On
And I
some,
know,
not all of them necessarily.
yeah, and I know you say that, on the films where you have the martial artists, they're used to, the punches coming. But when you're acting like that, are you just going through your emotions and not going like maybe 3/4 speed? Or because that would, I guess when you're really good at something, you can do it 3/4 or full speed. But are you thinking about like how violent that you should make the kick? Or are you measured? How does that work?
Well, every fight scene that you'll see in Batman Returns, in Knights, and in The Stranger, and in Under the Gun, with Richard Norton, with all of them, we choreographed and practiced and practiced and practiced, because we wanted to make sure that it looked clean and it looked real.
Yeah.
On all of them. So then that's really the most important thing, is that it looks real. And when you've got a handful of martial artists who are, just creating and having fun, and don't mind getting hit, and they'll react accordingly, it just makes it like a big day of, long day of having lots of fun.
Yeah.
Because we all pounding on each other, but not for real.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I don't know if I'm answering your question.
You are, because I'm trying to figure out, how, if you go full blast, or how that's, are you acting it?
There were sometimes we would go, like I would go full blast, and then the director would say, I can't see it. It's too fast. You got to slow it down.
Oh.
And many times they'd say that. Sorry, you're going too fast. I know that we've got good cameras here, but they're not picking it up as well as they could. So slow it down a little bit. To me, I felt like I was going at a snail's pace at those times.
There you go.
Yeah, I felt like, but when you looked at it on screen, it was like, wow, okay, that is fast.
That's kind of what I mean. It's like when you're used to doing it, because that's just muscle memory to do that. Then all of a sudden, have to like
dial it back
a snail's pace.
Yeah.
That would feel really unnatural to me, I think, as an athlete. Me trying to go back and throw a football in slow motion. And it looked right on camera, but it feels awful.
Yeah, I bet.
Charlie, are you on?
I am on. I'm just listening.
Well, Kathy, this is Charlie. Charlie, you're not going to show us your face today?
I would have to leave and come back. I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. Charlie, Charlie's the reason that you're on the show today, because he's a fan of yours. Is that right, Charlie?
Yeah, I was doing some work at work, and I was doing a video of you, and I looked you up and saw that you were the stunt person for Catwoman, and that's like one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, Batman Returns. Really? Yeah.
I gotta tell you how I got the job working on Batman Returns.
Oh, I'd love to hear.
I don't know if you know who Benny the Jet Urquidez is, but for the first Batman in that series, he his entire stunt team did all the stunts in the film. Give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
Don't go away.
We won't.
How old are you in that photo, Charlie? 10?
Huh?
How old are you in that photo? 10?
No, that was just a few years ago. I've gone downhill since the pandemic.
Like 30 years ago?
The pandemic's been really rough on me.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Charlie. Go ahead, Kathy.
Really. So sorry, I had to close the window. It was getting chilly in here.
It's okay.
So he told me that his stunt crew was going to work on Batman Returns, the second one, and he told me they're looking for a fight double for Michelle Pfeiffer, and he said, I think I might be able to set up an audition for you. Are you interested? And I said, sure, why not? What the heck? Now this is the first film I ever worked on before I did any acting, because I was still fighting at that time, right? So this is before Nights and before The Stranger and before Under the Gun, before all of that, because I was still in the middle of my fighting career. And I said, sure, I'll go audition. Why not? What the heck? So he sets up a meeting with a man named Max Clevens, who is the stunt coordinator for the Batman Returns. And I drive from Bakersfield. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's like the armpit of America. My kids know, yeah. So I drive from Bakersfield all the way to Burbank to Warner Brothers Studios, and I go through the gate and I park my car and I walk out, and I've got the directions of where the building is and the number of the building and the number of the room and everything, and I'm walking around, wandering, basically trying to find the building because there's so many numbers and so many letters on all the buildings, and I was like, I don't know where the hell I am. And they gave me a map, but none of it made sense. None of it.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm wandering around in this. I see this young man who, he looked like a messenger guy or somebody who's a helper. And I said, could you please, I saw him and he's wearing a wife beater tank top and a shirt with skulls all over it and scraggly hair and baggy pants. And I just thought, maybe he knows where this building is. So I asked him, I said, excuse me, sir, I'm looking for this building and I can't seem to find it. He goes, oh, I know right where it is. Let me walk you over there. So he walks me over there. Very nice young man. And I don't know, maybe we're around the same age or he was a little older than me, but I call him a young man now. But he walks over and he goes, so what are you here for? I said, well, I'm going to audition for a fight double for Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. He goes, oh, okay, cool. So he walks over and he goes, that building right there, go up the stairs. It's the first door on your right. I said, thank you. He goes, okay, good luck. And I said, thank you. And I walked up and I opened the door. And this is, like I said, right in the middle of my fighting career. And I had tank top and shorts on and I was shredded, like 124 pounds, 5% body fat. And I walk in and first thing the guy says, oh my God, not another fat chick. Why don't you go eat, go or something and come back? Well,
that's because me and not to interrupt, but me and Cara were just talking about the suit. The suit was not stretchy or anything, was it?
Nope.
I knew it. She was like, it had to be stretchy. And I was like, no, I saw it with my eyes. It was like a baby thin. It was so, I was like, you had to have been 100 pounds to fit in it. And it did not look stretchy. And she was like, it had to be. I was like, it wasn't. I'm telling you, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Oh, that's so crazy.
So anyway, he says that. I laugh. And I said, oh my God, you mean the Oreos I've been eating are finally showing? And, we had a good rapport. So I walked in, he goes, all right, kid, what do you got? And I had this VHS tape of one of my fights. That's all I had. That's it. And I walk over and I hand it to him. And I said, this is a VHS tape of one of my fights. He goes, oh, all right. So he pops it in the player, the VHS player. This is dating me, right? So he puts it in the player. He's watching the fight. He goes, oh, this is really good. And the phone rings. So he answers the phone. He goes, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Sure. I can do that. Okay. Click. And he goes, all right, kid, I want you to go downstairs and throw some kicks or something and let me see what you can do. So I run downstairs and I'm in the grassy area and I'm just shadow boxing, throwing punches and kicks and knees and, you know, stuff like that, and just moving around. And I see the guy who showed me where the building was in the background. I see him, and I'm making sure that I don't make eye contact with him, because I'm thinking, well, if the camera's on me, I just got to make sure I know what I'm doing, right? So he goes, okay, kid, come upstairs. So I ran upstairs and he says, all right, you got the job.
Wow.
You gotta come back Wednesday. You're gonna meet with Michelle, and what are gonna do? They're gonna measure you for a wardrobe. And I said, what? He goes, you got the job, kid.
Unbelievable.
And it was a wild guess.
was
Was
a
that
wild
kid? Was that kid Tim Burton?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew that's where it was going. As soon as you said skulls and stuff, I was like, you were talking to the director the whole time,
Totally.
weren't you?
Yes, I was talking to him.
Charlie, are you there?
I'm still here.
Okay, so we're good. Let's give her a minute.
As soon as she said that, I knew it had to be Tim Burton.
Of course
Who was
you
that?
did.
Tim Burton's the director, but he's like, you have to
Charlie's
remember this
also
is
a big
like,
fan of him too.
oh yeah, he's like the first. He's what made weird being cool.
You get
He
it?
was like the first weird person.
Have you seen The Nightmare Before
I don't watch
Christmas?
those movies.
Have you ever heard of The Nightmare Before Christmas?
I think I have.
Oh dear Lord.
Oh God, you think?
I know.
The Night Before
Jesus.
Christmas?
Hey, did we lose you there for a minute?
We did. I think my computer and my Ethernet cord came undone.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. You're good.
You can just pick up wherever you were.
Yeah.
The kid. Who was the kid? Charlie?
Charlie did it.
Was it Charlie?
Now Charlie's getting cut out.
Oh, you didn't lose me. I'm here.
You're getting cut out really bad. I don't know what's going on with everybody. Everybody's having their own version.
I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
I think my computer is back to normal again. So it's
No,
you
you're
are.
good.
You're good.
You're good. Something's going on with him right now.
Yeah. Play that or nothing.
Oh, brother.
What'd he say?
We're hearing every third word, Charlie.
You sound like you're underwater.
Yeah. Can you write your question? Come on, Charlie.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Fuck.
Yes. No, we can. I heard that.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, action.
Oh my gosh, Charlie.
What? What are we waiting for?
You were supposed to talk. Okay, so basically,
What happened?
Charlie knew that it was Tim Burton because Charlie is also a big fan of Tim Burton. So that's how
Oh,
he
yeah,
knew when
okay.
we were talking
There
and you
we
said
go.
skull and all that. He was like, oh, I know.
It's got to be him. It had to be. And what an amazingly creative man. Just unbelievable. You know,
How old is this guy? I mean, you said he wasn't much older than you. Is it director?
I don't know how old he is. I have no clue.
But I mean, at the time, he was really young, yeah?
Yeah, well, I was in my 20s.
He's a director?
Late
At
20s.
20?
I know Charlie would know. Tell Charlie what year that was. I bet you he'll know.
1992 is when it came out, so it was probably filmed in 90 or 91.
1990.
90?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's when we started.
And then I think he's in his 60s now.
So he's older than me. Yeah.
I think
mean, at the
maybe
time-
late 50s.
No, because even at the time, Leo, do the math. So if it was in 91,
Yeah,
he's 60 now.
yeah,
So that's like what, 29 years?
yeah.
So 29 minus 60, he
Keep
was
going.
he was like 30-ish.
Oh, okay, 30, I guess. I'm thinking he's a director.
But he could look young. I mean, Charlie doesn't look
I don't.
old, and he's 31,
Oh, that's true.
other than all those wrinkles on his eyes. But
I was like, did you hear how she
So anyway,
And the gray
That's
hair
it.
that's by his
They don't
ears.
look
It's all right though,
old.
Charlie.
It's
Don't
fine.
worry.
No, that was
Yeah, keep the photo there. It's all right. We don't want to see your gray hair or your wrinkles.
okay. So I got that squared away. So carry on with your.
I have a whole colony of gray hair.
So carrying on, you met the director. So what happened then?